we need to invest in the middle. The managers in the middle are the ones that have direct contact with the masses of the sales force, of the organizational workforce. Oftentimes are more directly involved with customers, clients, and so forth. So why is it we hire subject matter experts and then don't invest in training them how to be great leaders? That's the question, right?
Oh, and also say that the frontline manager is the most difficult job in the company at the same time.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
And everybody I know, like everybody I've almost to a person, they would say that. They would say, wow, that frontline, but the actions don't solve the problem. So you brought up the question, why does this happen? Why does it happen?
I think for eons of time, we have run companies and led companies, started back maybe in the old days where it's just, you do what I say, this is how it works, this is how it rolls. There's a shift happening over the last several decades, slowly, but there's now a shift happening that's more recognizable, where companies are realizing that actually culture matters. It's not just about productivity and performance in the sense of driving people to do things. It's about productivity and performance is enhanced and improved actually when there's a great culture. Because when you have a great culture, people are connected, people feel seen, they feel heard, they feel valued, they get up, they're energized, they love to go to work. So we've got to start thinking about the level of management where we need to invest in that level, so that level of management knows how to connect with their people in a meaningful way, so that their people ultimately are happy. I mean, companies are trying all kinds of things, putting couches in the break room, unlimited beer, on tap, all kinds of really innovative ideas on how to create good culture and keep, attract and retain good people. But when it's all said and done, you could have all the perks in the world, and if somebody says, I hate my boss, they're not going to stay.
Yeah. I mean, this is going back, this is a decade or more at this point, where, the ping pong tables and the popcorn and all that stuff, go down to the break room and play. But, oh, by the way, where the hell were you? Why didn't you make these calls? Why didn't you have these demos? Why didn't you have these results? Like there's a dichotomy there. And, it leads me, I think I used this example yesterday, and I want to ask you the same question. I don't know if you're a basketball fan. You don't have to be, but the Final Four, right, is kind of coming up at the time we're recording this. And two of the teams in the Final Four are Houston and Duke. And they talked about the difference between the two coaches. The Houston coach was labeled as old school. And an example is, they say the word that is ascribed to him the most is accountability. And an example is like his team's not really, with intention, like warming up. They're warming up half-ass. So he puts them on the line and starts running them on game day. Like everybody's watching in the arena, and he's got them lined up. And he's got his coaches lined up, his assistants, right? Old school. The coach of Duke, labeled as new school, is the opposite of that. When, they really trying to bring in data, getting people the right rest, bringing in a mental coach to help them with their mental game, right? Making sure they're happy and energized. Yet both teams, both love their coaches and both have, extraordinary track records of success. I think you were in the military. If I found that, I think you're in the Air Force, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the old school code, more like the Air Force, more like the military culture. I served in the Marines. And that's that. Like, is there one like right or are they both right? Can they both be successful if you take those personalities and styles and put them in the corporate world? Can they both succeed?
Yes. As evidence.
Sorry for the long question.
No, yes. As evidenced by your story, the military command and control methodology, which was carried into a lot of organizations over the years. I mean, that works great in the military. You have to have it, right?
Right.
because there's no time for questioning leadership, right? This is a different world, and the new generations are calling us out on that command and control concept, right? But does it mean that one style of leadership is better than another? Not necessarily, because you've got success in many different styles of leadership. What you ultimately want to look at is, does the team want to stay together? Do they like each other? Do they respect each other? Do they like the boss? They respect the boss, or in this case, the coach. Can they perform as a unit based on that style? And if they can, then you've got all cylinders firing, right? What happens most often, though, unlike the two examples you just gave, is you may have a command and control type manager trying to lead a team of salespeople or a team of IT professionals, or you name it. And that command and control isn't going to work in different environments, or it may not work in different cultures of the organization, because what you're going to have is you're going to have people in that, on those teams that are not going to respect the command and control, that are going to feel devalued because of it. And they may be there and they may be producing, but you can count on it based on Gallup surveys year over year. You can count on it. About 59% of your workforce is constantly looking for another place to work.
They're not. And while they're doing that, they're not engaged.
That's
so
right.
It's like a double or triple whammy there.